and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. Bloomington Mayor John Hamilton reported 0 new positive COVID-19 cases among city workers for the second consecutive week at the May 28th coronavirus press conference. Monroe County Health Administrator Penny Caudill shared local vaccine updates. She said the number of fully vaccinated residents range from just under to just over 50%.
Right now in Monroe County, 48.8% of our eligible population is fully vaccinated, and 51.8% have received at least a first dose. So that's good news. If we look at it by zip code, and there's a zip code map you can look at, it's color-coded. The darker the blue, the better. So for first doses, we range from 45% to just over 64% of our population. And in terms of zip code, fully vaccinated individuals, it ranges from 42.2% to just under 61%. Fully vaccinated. So I have a challenge. This is where I'm going to leave you today, is I want to challenge each and every person to be vaccinated. And in 2 weeks, let's see which zip code is the darkest blue.
Reporter Boris Ladwig asked if Indiana University would consider changing their decision to make the COVID-19 vaccine a requirement to attend or work at IU in the fall. Assistant Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at IU, Kirk White, said the university will be staying the course. He added that the decision covers a lot of smaller issues that could occur.
There are lots of little questions that come up about all this that we had to consider. For example, let's say that you're going to request housing in one of our residence halls. A student may be concerned if the roommate was not vaccinated, but the other student was. The student that's vaccinated may say, "I don't want to be in a room that where my roommate is not vaccinated. I don't feel safe. I don't want to be assigned that way."
Monroe County will be hosting a pop-up vaccine clinic on June 7th at the Convention Center. This clinic is a second shot follow-up to its May 6th pop-up clinic. The Monroe County Personnel Administration Committee discussed the proposed Public Information Coordinator position. At the June 1st meeting, committee member Marty Hawk showed concern over establishing a position to represent the whole of county government. She said that this position makes sense for city government, but not for county government.
I've asked more than once, show me what other county does this. I know the city does, and that's appropriate. The mayor is over those departments. The county commissioners, let me remind you, the county commissioners are not over the elected officials, period. They're just not. They're over the buildings, they're over the grounds, and they're over, many of their own separate departments. So if this was set up just for them and their own departments, that's one thing, but this includes that this person would write speeches for the county commissioners. Well, gee, how nice. I mean, the public at large will be paying to write speeches for the county commissioners.
Commissioners Administrator Angie Purdy stated this was not what the Public Information Coordinator would do. She clarified the role was an informational role, not a representative one.
I just want to reiterate that there is absolutely no intention for this person to speak for any elected person. That's not the intention unless that elected person asks them and approves the speech that they're going to be giving. So this is not taking away any elected officials' rights or power or ability to communicate with the public. The hope is that this person will be able to help our electeds know what's going on and be able to give them background information as necessary.
The Personnel Administration Committee voted 2-1 to approve the recommendations, with Councilor Marty Hawk voting against. The position will now return to the County Council for final discussion and approval. The Richland Bean Blossom Community School Corporation Board of Trustees held a special June 1st meeting to discuss paying RBBCSC staff and teachers a stipend for their work during the 2020 to 2021 school year. Superintendent Dr. Jerry Sanders said he started working towards stipends as soon as he found out he could. He talked about how hard faculty members worked to make online and hybrid learning possible during a global pandemic.
Because of multiple positive cases, I made a decision to go to full e-learning between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I found out, just as I sent out the all-call message, that our teachers and principals, our maintenance and transportation, everybody immediately rolled up their sleeves and got to work to get ready for that change. And really, that happened with every schedule we implemented.
Board members passed the resolution unanimously. And we'll have more CATSweek after this message.
For hurting families in Monroe County.
A contribution to children who are vulnerable and in need of an advocate.
A staff that goes above and beyond to support and advocate for children in need of services.
The web of remarkable people who are dealing with difficult situations.
So many young people that are in need of help and trying to find a stable family, a stable place to live. Without the CASAs to make that happen, many of them would be unable to find a good home.
I love being that voice for the child who can't speak for themselves in court.
It takes me out of my comfort zone, and it also helps others.
CASA means supporting our community.
Being a CASA is making sure that your village is healthy and whole, and that the children in your village will someday be able to help the village as well.
A child who doesn't have a voice, maybe in their family situation or a school situation, now has a voice that can advocate for them.
I really enjoy working with children that are going through difficult times and letting them know that I care about their future.
We are privileged with our charge of representing the best interest of children. And so therefore we can advocate for exactly what they need without restriction, focusing on their best interest.
I want to repair the world one child at a time.
Welcome back to CATSweek. At the June 2nd Monroe County Board of Commissioners meeting, County Attorney Jeff Cockrell presented an agreement to review and analyze the City of Bloomington's annexation fiscal plan. He explained that the report would need to be thorough despite the short timeline.
This is to have the fiscal plan of the city reviewed regarding annexation. They have a 45-day timeline that they think that this work will need to be done in, and that would put it at mid-July right now. And the public hearing is scheduled for August 4th. So we really want to fast track this, but we want to make sure it's done correctly and accurately.
Reporter Dave Askins questioned Cockrell on whether the report would cover annexation's impact on residents who already live within city limits. Cockrell responded that it could, but showed concern that the analysis would not be finished before the August 4th public annexation meeting.
But my fear would be that adding this work would extend the time frame. And again, in order for this report to be meaningful, we need to have it well before that August 4th deadline.
The commissioners voted to approve the partnership 2-0. At the June 2nd Bloomington City Council meeting, council members discussed creating a form that confirms how many non-related adults live in small rental properties. Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, John Zodi, presented a resolution that would require that landlords present an affidavit for their tenants to sign. He said the form would help replace previous forms that the city can no longer require.
And that relationship is one that is changing, and we can no longer require the rights and responsibilities pamphlet, brochure, form, as you know. That rights and responsibilities document did have in it an affidavit, if you will. It was affirming that the tenant had reviewed the occupancy permit for the unit, and then all the tenants had signed that. That is no longer allowed to be distributed under state law. So this affidavit could be considered an extrapolation of that, which is allowed. So we don't believe this impacts the tenant landlord relationship and telling them what their rights and responsibilities are, et cetera. But it does, we do believe this is allowable under the law to ask for this affidavit. So
Zodi clarified that the affidavit would only need to be filed each year if a property had new residents. Councilmember Isabel Piedmont Smith presented an amendment that would require the affidavit be signed annually regardless of any change in residents. She said this would help educate residents on occupancy limits.
It's a good reminder to people, even if, they've done it a year ago. It's good to remind them that, hey, there's a reason that only you 3 people are on the lease, and to affirm that with a signature, I think has value in conveying that message.
Resident Greg Alexander opposed the amendment. He said the extra step would just punish multi-year tenants.
It's not uncommon for a lease to automatically renew without anything new being signed every year. That is actually the arrangement that I have with my tenant. It would be another pointless interaction with my tenant for me to do this. Exactly like Mr. Zodi said, it's just, we shouldn't penalize multi-year tenants.
The amendment passed 5-4, with council members Dave Rollo, Kate Rosenbarger, Matt Flaherty, and Susan Sandberg dissenting. Councilmember Ron Smith suggested the resolution be moved to a future council meeting for further discussion. Council members voted unanimously to postpone the resolution to the June 16th regular session. The Monroe County Board of Zoning Appeals discussed variances at a property on East Hardin Ridge Road. At the June 2nd meeting, senior planner Tammy Behrman presented a request that would allow the petitioners to build a pool on their property. She said the planning staff still recommended denial based on the pool's proposed location.
Staff had made the recommendation to deny all 3 because basically with finding C, that we feel like there's other locations that this pool could be located to that the construction would not encroach into that 125-foot lake setback. And also, I believe finding A has to do with scenery. So the 125-foot encroachment kind of gets into that.
Petitioner Keith Dickerson revealed he would be installing a retaining wall before beginning construction on the pool. He said this would help prevent erosion and keep the pool the required 125 feet away from Lake Monroe.
That pool will actually not be built until October. What will happen this summer is the retaining wall will be built months before the pool goes in, so that the wall facing the lake and the wall that abuts the 125-foot setback, that retaining wall will be put in with the mini excavator. So what will happen is an 18-foot bucket will be put in, that wall will be put in. Therefore, it will be impossible when they come in to put the pool in, there will already be a retaining wall barrier, so nothing can get over the retaining wall and erode anything.
Board member Bernie Garatas moved to approve the variances with the same conditions proposed at the May 5th meeting. Board members voted 4-1 in favor, with Margaret Clements dissenting. And we'll have more CATSweek after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying.
I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
But with Girls Inc. in my corner,
there for me every day, believing in me,
showing me what's possible,
I can be strong enough to respect myself
and my body. To say I can rather than I can't.
To say no with no apology.
To be a leader.
To finish school.
To own my future.
To break the cycle.
Girls Inc. believes every girl can succeed. That's why the trained professionals of Girls Inc. are there for our girls every day, supporting, mentoring, and guiding them in a safe, girls-only environment. Building bonds that last for years and change that lasts a lifetime. Girls Inc. gives girls the tools they need to boldly face challenges, to resist peer pressure, to be the first in their families to go to college, to beat the odds. With Girls Inc. in her corner, every girl can be healthy, confident, and resilient. She'll do more than dream about her potential. She'll reach it.
With you in my corner.
With you in my corner, I will not be another statistic.
I will fight for myself.
For my future.
With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc. Inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Welcome back to CATSweek. Vice President of Design at Smith Design Group, Katie Stein, presented preliminary plans for a subdivision to the Ellettsville Plan Commission on June 3rd. She said the property would be broken up into 20 lots that are mostly single-family homes.
We are proposing to subdivide this property into 20 lots. 14, like Kevin said, will be single-family lots on the north side. We'll have 3 commercial lots on the south, adjacent to State Road 46. 2 lots in the middle are proposed, not with this petition, but they are proposed to be multifamily lots. And then we have 1 lot that is open area, common area, that is shown here on this screen.
Commissioners showed concern about the subdivision putting a strain on traffic. Commissioner Dan Swafford asked attorney Greg Lauer, who represents the petitioner, whether the petitioner would be seeking an additional exit from the neighborhood. Lauer said the petitioner is seeking permission to build a connection to Centennial Drive, but is not counting on it.
And I tell you that we would prefer to have that versus not having it, but I don't think we're in a position where we can wait around until Kreider's group makes a decision one way or the other. But yes, it does make our property more marketable from the standpoint of having that additional ingress egress. We're not through with it. I just don't think we're going to get anywhere in the near future.
Commissioner Terry Baker moved to approve the plan. Commissioner David Drake pointed out that the Plan Commission is obligated to approve it by right. Commissioner Pat Wesolowski voted yes, but added that the Plan Commission should have more power to address concerns like traffic congestion.
I think we have to do something with this exit on 46 before we approve anything else. Something's got to be done there, people. Like the neighbor said there, you know, people are going to get hurt, they're going to get killed, and we're going to sit back and say, well, we had nothing to do about it. And I just can't believe that a planning commission cannot have some type of authority about traffic.
The Plan Commission voted to approve the lots 4-2, with Commissioners Sandra Hash and Pamela Samples dissenting. Commissioner Don Calvert abstained. At the June 3rd Monroe County Election Board meeting, Monroe County Election Supervisor Karen Wheeler gave an update on the voter list maintenance postcard rollout. She said that there have been some errors with the first wave of cards, but that corrected cards have already been mailed.
There was a couple glitches from the state. The first one was there was 16,351 voters who did not have their suffix on their name. For instance, the junior and the senior got left off. Sounds like a lot of voters, but really 16,000 is across the state, not from Monroe County. It's for the whole state. So it's a pretty low number. And there's a way to fix that. They actually have resent that card out, and on there is marked corrected name in red and that will be their first card, even though it's their second one. The first card had been resent, and there was that correction. But with that, for instance, if John Sr. and John Jr. lived in the same house, they wouldn't know which card or who that belonged to. And if they're confused by it all, just give us a call and we will help them through that. Or they can wait, and they should have already gotten the second card of the first card. That gets kind of confusing. And then there was another little mishap, smaller amount. There was 2,366 voter registration cards that were sent out missing fields in their name. So for instance, maybe I got one sent to me, it'd be just Karen Ann, and it didn't have the Wheeler, but there was a name in the field missing. They also got those cards resent, and they also have in red corrected name printed on there.
Board Chair Carolyn Vanderweel asked Wheeler what residents should do if they have not received a VLM card. Wheeler clarified that they should call the voter registration office. She added that residents who receive a card with someone else's name on it should return those cards to the sender. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.